Trump celebrated America turning old enough to work in Congress. 250 years old. The birthday celebration was UFC 250. A fight on the White House lawn, and it went great.
Last night. But who won it? Who wouldn't be? I have a giant black man that wants to knock me out.
That's not even a fighter. They just pulled a Trump supporter from the crowd. Okay, sorry. This was a nerve-wracking event. The last time drunk, fat sports fans gathered this close to the White House, it was January 6th. They even arrested Sean Strickland, who showed up uninvited despite being the current middleweight champion. You're probably asking, why doesn't a current UFC champion who is patriotic not get invited to the most patriotic UFC event? He criticized America's favorite ally. Besides the fact the crowd was as loud as a library, which is expected, mainly because the crowd is over 65 years old and their entertainment is usually 12-year-old kids. Don't get mad at me for that one, be mad at them. But the press conference went just as well also.
So I look for the finishes, knockout submission. Always I look for this.
Yo, what's Vic Bland's here? My question is for
Hey, wait a minute, we translating that or what? Where's the translator at?
He's good.
You did?
That was in English.
That was English?
That was English.
Oh, all right.
The last time someone said some shit he didn't like, he smacked them. And by someone, I mean his wife. And a lot of big stars were there, like the Trump family, including Don Jr. and his new wife, whose dad literally managed Epstein's finances. It's a small island, world, I guess. The American-themed fight night started with the walkouts from the White House, where La Chona played in one of the first walkout songs. If you don't know what that song is, you can hear it every weekend if you drive into Riverside, California, from someone's backyard. It's basically Mexico's version of Shabuzi for white people. And honestly, this whole event was just corny. Why the White House? Do this in like a sacrificial Mayan pit, or in a Coliseum, or the pyramids, not 100 feet away from where Bill Clinton got a blow. The night was just gambling ads, Trump coin ads, and influencers in the crowd pushing more gambling ads, all allegedly to celebrate the 250-year-old anniversary of America, despite the fact that's not until July, and this all landed on his 80th birthday. But ignore that. It's been 250 years, and the country is still great at getting wrapped up in foreign wars we don't need to be in, robber barons running the world, and getting taxed an ungodly amount, while our freedoms all get stripped away. And if you studied history, then all this just seems like another repeating time, where the people are entertained just enough to not notice they are in a decline.
Ladies and gentlemen,
The Semi-Daily Night Show with Gary TV, your host, Gary.
Tonight's ceremonial first pitch, and please welcome the President of the United States.
We did it, sir.
just making sure you're paying attention.
Welcome to the Semi-Daily Night Show. I'm your host, Gary. If you laugh, please subscribe and send to a friend. The Iran war is over for the 15th time. This war has been ended more times than Kim Kardashian's ended relationships. And at least we get a great Lewis Hamilton performance out of that. Pete Hegseth, the man who has drunk divorced dad CrossFit form, spoke on the targets they have been hitting.
Or you just mentioned you're going to plan to hit them and strike them hard tonight. If the response is in hitting bridges, electrical infrastructure, how would that not be a war crime potentially targeting civilian infrastructure?
Well, it's precisely the kind of disingenuous question that I'm used to from the media.
Oh, Pete, I don't think you know what disingenuous means. Disingenuous, for example, is when you cheat on your first wife multiple times and then cheat on your second wife multiple times. And you're announcing we're just going to be striking civilian infrastructure? That is a war crime. The same way your bench press form is a war crime.
Immediately reopen the strait, and in 60 days, Iran has to downgrade their uranium to zero. We don't lift the blockade until the uranium's vaporized. And we don't unfreeze any of their money until they behave. For weeks, we haven't heard a peep from the gay Ayatollah.
Did he just call the Ayatollah of Iran gay? Iran hasn't even posted a happy Pride Month, so that can't be true. But yes, a deal has now been made, and it's the best deal ever made, according to Trump. It's not even comparable to the one Obama made, where Obama allegedly handed over billions of dollars to Iran.
Walk through some of this. The Iranians are saying that they're going to have access to a $300 billion reconstruction fund. True or false?
Well, Ed, that's the sort of thing they could have access to.
What? $300 billion to repair what we attacked? I can't even believe he would do this.
Thanks, Obama.
The White House is freaking out over the Epstein Files again. A report just came out about the internal freakout of Trump's name in the Epstein Files. In the Situation Room of the White House, Trump's admin members, including JD Vance, began speaking to the people in the room, which included Karoline Leavitt, White House press secretary, and living proof lip injections are getting too big. Communication director and former James Bond villain Stephen Chuang, and Attorney General Pam Bondi, who was too busy checking the Dow Jones to pay attention, and lastly, the first man to win a staring contest against an owl. Kash Patel and his right-hand man Dan Bongino were all in attendance, all to figure out how to squash the Epstein Files, despite Trump having more photos with him than I do with my middle school ex-girlfriend, who I also deny having any connections with. The FBI and Justice Department released a statement saying they found no connections to Epstein and the client list, which we should believe them. It's not like one of their colleagues lived next door to Epstein. That guy's definitely done a lot of evil shit in his life, but almost no one deserves that hairline. The article says JD Vance was panicked about the articles coming out about the Epstein Files and Trump's connections, and they needed a way to counter all of this. JD's great idea was to have Tucker Carlson interview Ghislaine Maxwell to try and clear Trump's name. She is Epstein's girlfriend and probably the person who needs a pardon more than probably Lindsey Graham once his internet search history gets leaked. After months of arguing and releases, which are about the same amount of new releases as there are new songs from Frank Ocean, Bongino then began to get angry at the White House for messing up the release of the Epstein Files. But they accused him of leaking stories to the press, which he then said he would give them all $100,000 if the journalists would name him as the source, and that he gave up millions of dollars from his podcast to work for the White House. He currently still covers up the Epstein Files and goes to bat for Trump since quitting, which isn't even his biggest lie that he's told. It's that show makes $1 million.
This is Karate Man.
I will personally become the second coming of Bill O'Reilly if it means I get $1 million to be like that. And during all this, the Epstein controversy kept stirring up online. Trump was even upset about the fighting with all the podcasters, where he ended up even calling Charlie Kirk to scold him about playing into the Epstein Files, which is just offensive because
We are Charlie Kirk!
And their solution to fix this was to have Trump's lawyer and now Attorney General Todd Blanche go on Joe Rogan.
And I was like, whatever, I'll do. If I get fired here, whatever, I'll just go do Joe Rogan next week and I'll be fine. Anyway, I thought that was funny. No?
What? Apparently, Joe Rogan then turned this down, but then Todd Blanche went and interviewed Ghislaine Maxwell, where she said she never saw Trump do anything bad. And then miraculously, she was transferred to a low-security prison. Surely, that wasn't just some weird deal. And in one of the last meetings, they discussed evidence that came out from another Epstein victim, who definitely unrelated, but unalived herself later. That there was testimony from another Epstein victim that she knew Trump had hooked up with one of Epstein's girls and had an obsession with nipples. So they wanted that removed from the Epstein Files that would be released to the public. And this is probably the first time the government discussed nips in the Situation Room since Bill Clinton. This whole article looks bad for the Trump administration. It shows a panicked vice president and a White House staff trying to nip some evidence in the butt. See what I did there? That was clever. Please subscribe. So there's only one thing they could do to get people to stop talking about the Epstein Files. SpaceX, Elon Musk's company, went public last Friday. One of the company's main selling points is going to Mars and putting data centers in space, which sounds f***ing stupid.
How dare you?
No, but really, how do you go up there and do repairs? Does Matt Damon go up there for like 15 years and grow piss potatoes again? This now makes Elon Musk the world's first trillionaire to beg to hang out with Jeffrey Epstein. Major institutions have bought in, like BlackRock, who bought $5 billion worth of shares. Now, SpaceX is valued at over $2 trillion, which is 95 times higher than their revenue. So, major investment firms are now just gambling. What's next? Celebrities are going to start advertising prediction markets?
Are you feeling anything?
Coffee.
I don't understand, but this is going very well.
I've said a lot of controversial things on this show. I did a sketch where I was Antifa. I joked about college funds and Alex Jones' statements. But the most controversial thing I'm going to say now is that's worse than Dune. And Dune sucked. Sorry, little Timmy. Now, people are celebrating this company officially going public on the stock market with a statue outside of Morgan Stanley's headquarters. That's actually pretty accurate considering his legs are non-existent.